Thank you for stopping by Ballistic Barbecue. On this video, I'm going to be cooking up the tongue-in-cheek cheeseburger. Let's get going. So I think this video is going to have a little something for everyone. It's going to have some low and slow barbecue going on, and then some hot, fast grilling. And I'm going to give credit where credit's due. The inspiration for this hamburger that I'm about ready to make came from Rich's River Smokers, West Virginia. I'll have a link down below for his channel. Please go check him out, sub. He cooked up some beef cheek tacos that just looked amazing. I've never cooked beef cheeks before, so I had to give it a try. Luckily, my local butcher has the stuff, and I'm just gonna dive right in. So here's the cheeks. I have about, I think, 4 cheeks here, and it's way more than I need for this hamburger, but I'm gonna cook up a bunch of extra, and I wanna play around with it, make some sliders and what have you. First thing I'm going to do is trim. So you can see there's some pretty heavy, like silver skin here, and I just wanna get a lot of this scrap off of here. So let's go ahead and get the silver skin removed. As you can see, there's definitely not the yield that I was expecting here. When I bought these, I was thinking it was a total of 4 cheeks, basically the 2 cheeks with the connective section in between. But it ended up, it was just 1 cheek with a bunch of basically scrap, a lot of heavy connective tissue, really thin meat and some fat. I'll salvage what I can from that, maybe put it in a grind or something, but it's not going to do me any good today. However, I'm a little bit relieved because this is more the amount that I need for this video. So as you can see, I just kind of cleaned these up, removed a lot of that heavy connective tissue, some of that silver skin, excess fat. These are very lean, but there is some marbling going on. So for this cook, I'm going to be using my buddy Jason over there at GQ Barbecues, The Rub, and I love this stuff. Just gonna go ahead and hit real nice and liberally here. So far, everything I've used this rub on, I've really enjoyed. It's good on beef, pork, and chicken. All right, that looks good. I have the backwood smoker preheated out in the patio. I will meet you outside. So in this cook, I'm going to be using that chubby 3400 by backwood smoker, 250 degrees right now, and I'm running hickory. As you can see, that rub is really sweat in now. And we are cooking. Right now, I'm just going to be paying more attention to the color, and I want to make sure it doesn't dry out. If it starts looking dry on the surface, I'm going to be spritzing it with a 3-to-1 mixture of Kentucky bourbon and water. I think that'll add just a really nice layer of flavor there. Other than that, I'm in kind of unknown territories for me. I do plan on wrapping it. It's a very lean meat. There's a lot of conductive tissue going on in there. So I'm going to wrap on color. I'll let you know what temperature I'm at when I wrap, but I'm wrapping on color. I wanted just a really nice fall apart pulled beef here. So I'll let you know how long this cook takes and what I'm doing in the process. And I've got a lot more that I'm going to throw at you in just a few seconds here. See you in a bit. And here we are, beef tongue. This is going to be transformed into the patty for this burger. It's pretty scary looking, but it's going to be okay. This is kind of one of those forgotten cuts here in the United States. I think a lot of our parents ate this during hard times. However, I can tell you, I've had tacos with this, tacos de lengua, and it's killer. It's good stuff. Just frightening looking the way it is now. I'm just going to go ahead and trim all this nastiness off, this kind of gnarly stuff. Feels like a cat's licking my hand while I'm doing this. This is weird. All right, this is pretty good. I have a little bit more cleaning up to do. I'm going to dice this meat up. I'll bust out the grinder, show you what the next steps are. Now I've diced up the tongue here. One thing I noticed is that big chunk of meat that was under the actual tongue, towards the back there had some really great fat. I mean, it almost looks like Wagyu fat. So I made sure I separated this and diced it separately. I'm going to try to balance the lean with the fat. The other thing that I'm going to be doing is I have some ribeye fat just trimmed off of a rib roast, extra fat, saved it. I'm going to be kind of incorporating this into the grind as well. Turn this on, it's pretty loud, but basically what I'll do is take a piece of that heavy lean and drop it in the grinder right with a blob of chunk of fat, and it'll help, you know, mix this up really nicely. I'm using the small die on the grinder. The reason I went with the small die is it is just such a lean meat. I wanted to make sure we broke it down into thin pieces. Let's get going here. And there we go. That looks like some really good hamburger. What I'm going to do now is cover this with some plastic wrap, get it in the fridge, let it chill out a little bit. The beef cheeks have been cooking now for about an hour and a half, and they have the color that I was looking for. The rub's starting to tighten up pretty nicely on it. I spritzed them with that bourbon water mixture about an hour into the cook, and then again about 20 minutes later. And like I said, they're where I want them to be right now. For those of you who want to know, I did take the temp just out of curiosity, and it's about 165 right now. All right, obviously I'm not going to use a huge sheet of foil like I would with a brisket or a Boston butt or something. So I have a little bit of, this is straight bourbon. I'm just going to put it in the kind of the bottom of the foil here. Now Rich used one of Cosmo Q's rubs on his beef cheeks, so I thought I'm going to use one of Cosmo Q's sauces on mine. Actually, Cosmo's a good friend of mine. So I'm using Cosmo's honey jalapeno sauce, and I'm just going to drizzle a little bit. It says honey, but it's not crazy sweet, but that honey tones down the burn, so it's just a really nice burn. Just kind of a pleasant burn. Just wrap nice and tight here. All right, back in the cooker they go. So now I'm just going for tenderness. I want, again, that probe to go in without even feeling it, and then we'll move on to the next step. It's going to get better. While the cheeks are cooking in the smoker, I'm going to go ahead and build this patty now. It's a nice cool day outside, so I'm not worried about, I just don't feel like schlepping all my gear inside the house for you guys to see this. So again, when you're working with ground beef like this, you don't want to mash it up into a really super tight patty. You want it tight enough to where it's not going to fall apart on the grill. However, if it's too tight, that's where you run into those problems, you know, where it starts to balloon up like a softball. It looks good. This ground beef, this tongue, ground up, it smells really good. I mean, it has a very clean, beefy smell. It's really nice. All right, that's a pretty decent sized patty. I'm going to get this in the fridge, let it tighten up a little bit more, and we're going to be making a burger here really soon. The cheeks have been foiled in the pit now for about an hour and 30 minutes, and they are done. They are like braised short rib tender. I'm excited about that. So I'm going to go ahead and pull them out, let them rest in the foil. In the meantime, I'm going to set up the grill, getting ready to make what I think is going to be a pretty amazing hamburger. See you guys in a bit. All right, we are ready to create this burger now, and one of the elements is fried pickles and fried onions. So we're going to do that right now because the burger itself won't take too long to cook. I want to make sure these are done. Right here I have regular flour, milk, seasoned flour. I season the flour with adobo seasoning. Get those onion rings in, and I spritz these onion rings with just a little of that bourbon mixture. And then I'm using those like stacker pickles. All right, I'll get these in the fryer. All right, pickles and onions look great. Let's pull these off, let them drain. Now let's cook up that tongue burger. All right, we are ready to cook this burger. Before we start cooking, I want you to check this out. This is the new cast iron grate from Craycourt, and this version is actually ceramic coated, so it's not going to rust, which is pretty darn awesome for cast iron. All right, so I'm using lump charcoal. I have a really, really hot area here. It gets less hot as I go around this way. I'm going to put the burger right here just because of how thick it is. Even though this is the coolest zone, it's still really hot. But I want to make sure that this burger cooks and doesn't just burn on the outside. A little salt. A little more salt. All right, I'm getting good color up the sides. The top is starting to moisten up. I need to get this flipped. If I wait too much longer because of all the fat in this burger, it's going to fall apart when it flips onto the grill. So let's get this going. I am going to top this with cheese, but now would not be the right time. It would just completely melt into nothing. So we're going to let this cook a little bit more before I hit the cheese. All right, it's coming along fine. We're going to get this this is some medium cheddar. While that cheddar is melting, I want to get a little toast. These are potato buns. I love them. All right, beautiful toast on the buns. I like it. Cheese has got a nice magazine bend on it right now. Let's go ahead and make this burger. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay down some just good old mayonnaise here on the bottom bun. It's going to help balance the flavors off, but it's also just a great barrier to keep that bottom bun from getting really soggy from the juices from the meat. Some green leaf lettuce. Now that burger patty. Now those fried pickle stackers. Now I'm going to lay down some of that beef cheek, and I mix it with just a little bit of Cosmo's, that honey jalapeno. It's good. And this beef cheek is really good. Like I said, it reminds me of short rib, but there's definitely a lot of collagen. I mean, it's if it makes any sense, kind of sticky. You know, there's the meat sticking together, which is kind of cool. I mean, it kind of coats the inside of your mouth. It's good. Now lay down some of these fried onion rings. Now that top bun, I'm going to lay down a little bit of Cosmo's sauce there. She's a beauty. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half, and let's hope that it maintains enough integrity for me to pick it up and eat it. Yeah, considering the ingredients that are used here, this is a sexy looking burger. You can see it's a nice kind of a medium. And remember guys, you don't have to use tongue. If you want to do something like this, use ground beef. If you don't want to use tongue, and if you don't want to use cheek, use brisket, you know, or pot roast or something. But this is a good way of using some leftover barbecue, top a burger with it. So let's give this thing a try. And that just is a really pretty burger. I'm happy with the way this looks. And it is juicy. Look at that. This is really, really good. Everything is really working out. I mean, this is a very well-balanced burger. That tongue patty, that sounds disgusting. Anyway, the tongue patty definitely has a different flavor than any of the other beef, regular traditional ground beef patties that at least I've ever eaten, ever. It's not a bad flavor, but it's definitely different. And again, I've eaten tongue before in tacos. So unless you've had it, I guess it's really difficult to explain how it tastes. There's a very slightly kind of an earthy flavor, I guess, but a good flavor. It's good. It's just different. It's not beef. If I ate this without knowing that it was ground tongue, I would definitely detect something was different here. That cheek, I love it. Again, it's got a nice sticky kind of again, that collagen is all broken down and it's very sticky and unctuous. I like it. And it kind of reminds me of a really nice kind of a sticky beef short rib, braised short ribs. I love those pickles under the cheese. Adds a little tang. The onions, I mean, come on. I eat those just all by themselves. This really works. Thank you guys for stopping by. I really appreciate it. I always appreciate your views. Thanks for putting up with another burger. But again, it was more than just a burger. I mean, there was some low and slow stuff going on. There was some different type of meats going on. Do yourself a favor. Check out Rich's River Smokers, West Virginia. Great guy, good cook. You'll learn a lot. I mean, he's just, like I said, it's a great up-and-coming channel, I say. Give this a try. It's definitely worth it. I mean, at least the butcher shops down here carry cheek and the tongue. I mean, my grocery store has it, but definitely ethnic stores have it if you have an ethnic store like Hispanic or an Asian market. Give it a try. It's good stuff. Keep those suggestions coming in. See you in the next video. Cheers.